Sad is a man who's asked for a story but can't come up with one. His 5-year-old son waits in his lap. Not the same story, Baba, a new one. The man rubs his chin and scratches his ear. In a room full of books, in a world full of stories, the man can recall not one, and soon he thinks the boy will give up on his father. Already the man lives far ahead. He sees the day the boy will go. Don't go! Hear the alligator story. Hear the angel story once more. You love the spider story. You laugh at the spider story. Let me tell it. But the boy is packing up his shirts and looking for his keys. Are you a god, the man screams, that I should sit mute before you? Am I a god, that I should never disappoint? But the boy is here. Please, Baba, a story. It is an emotional rather than a logical equation. It is an earthly rather than a heavenly one. It posits that a boy's supplication plus a father's love equals silence. This poem is called A Story by Lee Young Lee. It says, and a story is like a telling of events. It could be real or it could be fake. It first says, sad is the man who's asked for a story. So then the question that is asked or like posed at this point is, why is the man sad? Just because somebody asked for a story. And then it says, and can't come up with one. So this shows that he is sad due to a lack of a story. His 5-year-old son waits in his lap. So this shows that the son is very young, obviously. Then the son says, not the same story, Baba, a new one. That poses a challenge for the man. The man rubs his chin and scratches his ear, which shows that the man is pondering. What story can I tell the kid that I haven't told before, given that he wants a new one? Then it says, in a room full of books, in a world full of stories. That shows that there are many options available in the world for a story to tell this kid. So it shouldn't be too hard to find one. But then it says, he can recall not one. And soon, he thinks the boy will give up on his father. So this shows that the man is worried that the boy will give up on him. Already, the man lives far ahead. He sees the day this boy will go. So by the wording of, he sees the day that this boy will go, shows that this is just the father's mindset of the future. It hasn't actually happened yet. So the man says, don't go. Hear the alligator story, the angel story once more. You love the spider story, you laugh at the spider. Let me tell it. So this shows like an array of stories that the man has told this kid. And that like these are the types of the stories. And he wants to tell the kid the story. But up here it shows that the kid wants a new story, so these are obviously stories that he's already told them. And the man is desperate for the kid not to leave, so the man calls him back. That's why I write, the man calls him back in desperation. And in this whole scene, like the boy is growing up and like leaving the man. So then it says, but the boy is packing his shirts. He's looking for his keys. Now these are words of like leaving home, I would say. Because if you're packing your shirts and looking for your keys, that means you're like trying to go, like keys to your car, like that type of thing. And then, but it also shows that this is like still the future in this stanza, because the boy is 5 years old. How is he going to be able to pack his shirts, or look? And what keys would he have? He doesn't have a car. He doesn't own any house. Like he lives in his father's house, and he's just a kid. There's no way he could do these things. And then the man says, "Are you a god?" And it shows that he screams it, which means he's like really passionate and he really cares about what he's saying. And then he said, "I sit mute before you." So in this sentence, so he compares the kid to a god, and then he says, that I sit mute before you, which shows that the man is mute because of a lack of a story that the kid is demanding from him. And then it says, am I a god that I should never disappoint? So that means he's like worried for disappointing the son, given that this is his mindset of what would happen in the future. And now I think it gets back to reality, because it says, but the boy is here, which is like a flashback to reality. Like, the boy is here right now. So the man is like snapped out of the mindset. And the boy says, please, Baba, a story. That shows that the boy is still there, just wanting a story. And this part, it says, it's an emotional rather than a logical equation, an earthly rather than a heavenly one. So this means that these are like precursors to like an equation that's going to be presented to the reader. And then it says, which posits that a boy's supplications. That means that this equation is like embodies that a boy's supplications, which is like what he wants or is begging for. Okay, so this shows that the boy's supplications, which means what he wants or what he's begging for, and a father's love adds up to silence. Which the equation means, and which is what I like wrote here, the equation means that the boy wants a story, which is given the supplications, and then the man does not want to disappoint the son, so he's not saying anything, but he won't say, I don't have a story, because he doesn't want to disappoint the son. He doesn't want the son to hypothetically leave in the future, which is what he thinks will happen. So that's why the man is silent and the boy is waiting for a story. So that shows that. So, and those two things are both silence, right? So two things of like two people who are silent added together would just be more silence, which is what it says at the end. So yeah, that is my interpretation of what this poem means. Now it's time to see the story, or the poem A Story, through the literary device of soapstone. So soapstone means speaker, occasion, audience, purpose, subject, and tone. So the speaker, and let's apply this to the poem A Story, obviously. So the speaker, I would say it's pretty hard to determine, given that it's like not said by the point of view of the man or the kid. So I would say my educated guess or like my assumption for who it is Lee Young Lee, who's the author, given that it's like said from like a third person point of view. It's not really said from the point of view of the man or the man's child, who is known in the poem as the boy. So the occasion seems to be the like story time at nighttime for the kid who wants a story before he goes to bed. That's what it seems to be, given that the son is like waiting in his lab for a story, and there's like a decent interpretation of this poem is that it's before the kid goes to bed. So next we'll look into audience. The audience isn't very obvious in the sense. So the audience seems to be, in this case, the like maybe somebody in like who's a son or a father, and in a way it could be relatable that the son is always wanting and it could be I would say this is generally applicable to like any son or father, that like the son wants some stuff for the father, and the father's always worried that he won't deliver on these things that he wants to deliver to the son, such as a story when the son needs it, and or something like that. Next we have purpose. The purpose is to show like the complex relationship between the man and the son, and how there's silence. It like the outcome seems to be silence, given that the son is waiting for a story and the man is doesn't want to disappoint the child, given that he can't think of a story. So there's this kind of like an awkward silence, which shows like the complexity of the relationship of father and son. Let's go to subject. So the subject. The subject seems to be the man's like worry that he may one day lose his son if he doesn't always deliver to what the son wants, and the son will just be disappointed, which is shown by this passage here. Are you a God? The man screams. Did I sit mute before you? Am I a God that I should never disappoint? Which means he feels the pressure of like not wanting to disappoint the son. Now we'll look at tone. The tone is I would say the tone is pretty solemn, given that it's all laid out of how the man wants to tell the son a story and he can't, because he just can't think of a new one. And the son really wants a story, so they just both end up silent. So yeah, that's the story looked through, let's say, the lens of Soapstone.